All right, we're moving on to the next part of Photoshop. These things we're going to cover in this video will be things that will help you complete assignment number 9. Um, and so let's get right to it by opening up the file number 19 called Add Text. And so this is the photo that you should have. Um, we're going to do a variety of things to this photo. Again, you practice at your own pace. And feel free anytime you think you get too much of a mess, to go to the history, click open, pause the video whenever you need to. So let's start by talking about adding text to a picture. So if you look in your toolbox and you come down here on the side, there is your T tool. That is your horizontal type tool, or better known as your text tool. If you right click it, there are different types of text. We are only going to deal with horizontal um, text. Um, when you click horizontal, you basically just create a text box, which you're probably familiar with. Um, Inside that text box, if you ever see lorem ipsum in there, that's just the default text that they put in there. Um, I've got mine set already, so mine might. Let's talk about that now. Before we type something, this is these where you pick your font app, and I don't care what font you want to practice with. Um, Regular, just it's the sample. This is the size. They have some listed for you. You certainly can type sizes in. Okay. This has to do with like making it more sharp or crisp, left, center, right align. This is your font color, and you can pick any color that you would want. Um, and then basically, you make the text box bigger and you make it smaller. Yeah, there's quite a bit of text actually in there, that lorem ipsum. You can see I'm making my box bigger and it just kind of keeps on coming. If I select that text um, and type, I'm just going to type Brandon, hit enter and type Valley. I'm going to make my box probably a little bit more realistic to the size of the text. Swing your cursor out here to the edge, about a quarter of an inch past a corner. You can rotate your text. Um, so you have the ability to do that. Um, Again, with your text selected, you can make your changes. There's what's called the T here. It's warp style. If you click on that, you can change to any of these kinds of styles. Like if you want to squeeze the text, you click squeeze, and then you get up a set of levers here where you can bend it. So it has a different kind of a squeeze. You can change the horizontal distortion, the vertical distortion. If you don't like squeeze and you'd rather have fisheye, then you get some different levers in here to create kind of a fisheye effect. And so you can actually kind of play around if you want and see what's available to you. Okay, so let's say that's the one we kind of like to have, one that might look a little bit like that. So it's called Warp Text. It's that T on the hill, and you just simply click OK. When you make text, you'll notice you made a new layer. So when you're starting to work with assignment number 9, you're going to want to save this as a Photoshop file to preserve these layers. Okay, not a JPEG. We'll get to that, but for now, when you do that, try to remind yourself that you want to do it that way. Um, if I just click on my move handle over here, that sets that text box. Okay. And now you can see my layer is now called Brandon Valley. If I grab my move tool, I can move this text anywhere I want. If I double click on the layer, I should be able to get it back into edit mode. Or now if I want to change anything, I can. If I just click on the background layer, then it goes away like that. If I want to make another text box, I just simply click on the T tool. It'll probably take on the same characteristics in terms of formatting. If I type the word links, I can format that however I want to, make it look however I want to. I can either click on that move tool, I can click on the background tool. I'm going to click on the move tool. That sets that text box I can move it anywhere I want. Okay. Um, and so you have the ability to do that. See, now I have two layers over here, Brandon Valley and then links. So again, this would need to be saved as a Photoshop file. When you save it, up here, File, Save As, this extension should be a PSD, Photoshop, PSD. I'm going to cancel that so that it preserves those layers. Okay. All right, so that's one thing that you're going to want to be able to do. And again, if I want to edit the text, I just come over here to the layer, and I just double click on that thumbnail, and it opens it up and allows me to make any changes that I want to it. Okay? All right, so that should allow you to make text. Then the other thing that will come into play with assignment number 9 is creating some kind of shapes. Over here in your toolbox under T, yours probably looks like this. It's right above the hand. It's the shape tool. If you right click it, you can make a rectangle, an ellipse, a triangle, polygon, or a custom tool. And they all kind of work the same way. We're not going to go through all of them. We'll just kind of do the rectangle, maybe throw an ellipse in there. Ellipse is a fancy word for circle. And then we're definitely going to visit custom shapes. So if you would just click on the rectangle tool, you'll notice up here that this is your options area to make changes to it. And we're not going to cover like some of these things over here. Um, there is also sometimes you'll see over here the ability to make some changes as well. I'm going to focus a little bit on this area. And so basically, you just draw that rectangle onto your document. It will be filled in with this pink purple color. Now, when you see that shape appear, you'll notice the square handles will let you make the object bigger and or smaller. But you'll also notice these little dots that when you hold your cursor over it, that will allow you to create rounded corners. Okay. And the farther you bring it in, the more rounded they become. Farther out you take it, then the more square they become on the edges. If you want to change the opacity of this square, and you'll notice you now have a rectangle over here layer, there's right here an opacity button. If you hit the drop down and you drag that lever to the left, you'll see then that it changes the how much light would come through your object right there. And so you have all of that that you can play around with as well. Okay. Um, so this is where you change the fill color. If, like you said, I wanted a different fill. Um, this is the stroke. That is that line that will outline that shape. If you click on it, you can put it in a different color. So now I'll have a red stroke. Um, I need to increase the size of the stroke in order to see it. See, there you go. It's red. And then these are, and you can get into all sorts of options here. These are different kinds of styles that you can have that outline be. Okay. When I click either on background, I'm just going to click on the move tool. Then that rectangle takes on that shape. And I can move this obviously anywhere I want. If I wanted to put the word links over the top of it, notice when I move it, it actually covers the word links up. So remember, cover it up and then relayer this. So if links needs to be visible, then you need to move it above the rectangle. And then it looks like it's actually in the box. And you can rename these layers, whatever you want to rename them. They work like any of your other layers that you have. And again, this would be a save as a Photoshop file to preserve those layers. If you come back over here and draw like an ellipse, it's going to take on whatever characteristics you have up here. Okay. And so again, you can go back through and you can make whatever changes that you want to the stroke, make it obviously bigger. And then if you want to change the opacity, you can change the opacity and all that kind of stuff. And now when you look over here, you have a bunch of layers starting to go on. Okay. And then the other thing that you will want to be able to do is, here it is, my shape tool. Um, right click it. So, and a triangle works the same way. Polygon, you can create a line. Is the what's kind of cool is these custom shape tools. So then, and when I click mine, yours is not going to look probably like this. So just kind of follow along. I'm going to create something custom in my shape. And if you look up here on the shape options menu bar, you'll have this shape menu right here. And mine looks like some kind of an animal there. Right. And so, and yours may not look like mine. Over here on this little gear, yours probably like small thumbnails. So if I open up leaf trees, these are all different kinds of trees that I actually can draw on my document. Now you're going, wait, I don't want blue. Well, just wait a minute. And it should change to the color that, like this, that's the stroke coming through. So you have to be a little careful with these can be a little bit more difficult to format, but you actually can start to get some really cool looking different kinds of shapes that you have here. Mine's thinking pretty hard right now. If you come back to this thing, the drop down, you'll get like wild animals, you'll get leaves. So you can open these different categories up, and there's different things that you can draw. There. I finally got the red to finally fill in there, like a submarine. Maybe you want to draw a submarine. Now it's not going to be blue. It'll you can go back and you can change the color of them. Okay. And again, they take a little while to actually think, but you can see over here, I have now two palm tree layers, and there's my submarine. There it is right there. If I wanted to, I grab my move tool. If I wanted to put my submarine on my circle, I could do that. Okay, if I wanted to put my submarine up here with that, I could. Just remember that, if I put my submarine on my circle, and you can have any object you want, remember that this text, the order of the layers does matter. Okay. And so if like you put it over there and it's gone, then you got to remember that you actually need to do something with the changing of the layers and stuff like that, so that you don't have any issue with that. And again, all you got to do if you want to move something is click on the move tool, grab it, and move it. If you double click it, it's thinking again for me. Over here, if you double click the thumbnail, that should get you in the edit mode so that you then can go ahead and make it bigger, make it smaller, change its color. Maybe I want it to be a completely different color. And so you have the ability to and do what you want. And there are property boxes over here that help you change the height and the width. Or you can use, click on your shapes, and that puts the handles back on it for you to make it bigger and or smaller. If I just click on that shapes button over there, that brings back this panel up here across the top. But mine's working pretty hard to get through some of that stuff. So, but those are the things that I think will let you give you the best chance at practicing before you actually want to maybe tackle doing assignment. I think it's number 9. I think it's called add text and shapes. So those are the things that you're going to want to practice. So good luck.